We're Laura and Cindy, and you're listening to the Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry podcast, where we talk about natural horsekeeping and deepening your connection with your horse. I'm Laura, your horse care mentor. I teach natural horse management practices after working with over 200 horses and seeing how current industry standards are compromising the health of the horse.
And I'm Cindy, your horsemanship mentor, offering a proven and unique approach to creating deep connections with your horses from 20 plus years of experience, including working with wild Mustangs. If you enjoy this conversation, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to us so we can get this podcast into the ears of more passionate horse people. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about effective strategies for redirecting your horse's energy. This topic, to me, has a few different meanings. What do you think, Laura?
Yeah, I was just realizing we could take this in a few different directions if we wanted
Which
to.
we
We
may.
will, yeah.
We may. So let's talk about the first thing that came to mind when we came up with this topic was when we're riding our horses. I hear this all the time with friends and clients. When we're riding through meadows, oh my God, I don't want to go that way. My horse is going to keep diving his head down to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real challenge. You know, there's a lot to that challenge of why that's happening. But for me, redirecting your horse's energy when we're going through a meadow like that is I ride with my horse. I don't ride on my horse. I'm not a passenger. It's a partnership. It's a relationship. I'm always having a conversation with them. And it's not a micromanaging, nagging conversation. It's we're riding down the trail and I put a leg on just to see if they bend. Or I'll just touch the one rein a little bit to see if they'll tip their nose for me. Or I'll ask for the hindquarters to step over one direction, 1 or 2 steps. To me, that's redirecting my horse's energy. And the reason for that is to say, hey, I'm still with you. Are you still with me? I have witnessed so many train wrecks on the trail when a group of women go out and they're yakking, and their horses are riding, and they're oblivious, the women are oblivious to what's going on around them, and the horse spooks and the woman comes off and the horse goes to the trainer for 60 days.
Yep. And that horse was showing increasing energy steadily. And it was not being picked up on.
Yes. And I love that because they were showing increasing energy in the direction of the stimulus.
Yes.
Right? But because the woman, the rider, was not riding with their horse, they abandoned. To me, they quit on their horse long before their horse left them behind.
100%.
And so we'll go back to the riding in the meadow. When I'm riding in the meadow, as soon as we start to hit, I don't say anything. I want my horse to show me, is this a problem?
Mm-hmm.
And if they start diving their head down, the minute I have this imaginary line, horizontal line, and when my horse's nose crosses that horizontal line, dips below it, something shows up.
Mm-hmm.
I give them a bump on one rein and they know, whoop, I don't know where that line is, but she'll let me know. So that's the redirecting the energy.
And there's times when that energy redirects really easily. Like, it's done off of a feel. Like, hey, I know that looks delicious, but we're not doing that right now. Stay with me. And then there's time when that energy escalates. And so I have to do more to redirect it than to just pick up on the rein. There's been times when I'm like, okay, we're trotting. because you can't eat when you're trotting. And so matching that energy in a fair way is a really important way to redirecting it, because if usually if MJ is really trying to eat the grass, I realized I made a mistake. I should have fed her. Like, it's not fair to take a hungry horse out on the trail and then be like, well, screw you, you jerk, for trying to eat. So that's important. If that's a constant issue you're having, feed your horse before you go out. But then,
It's a good idea anyway.
yeah,
We'll
for
get
their
into that
gut
in
and
another
everything else.
episode.
Yes. Yes, it's a very good idea anyway. But that, matching that energy, otherwise they're just going to ignore you. And you're not redirecting anything. You're just nagging them.
Yep. And what she means by that matching the energy is and redirecting it. If your horse is pulling their head out of your hands, pulling the reins out of your hands, you have to have a good, strong feel and a good, strong consequence for that. And once you get that attention, then you get to say, oh, and how about if we do this?
Yep.
So one of the things I practice and I teach is I never tell my horse no in a situation like that. I say not now. And it has a different feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not now, because we got to go over here. We got to move our hindquarters. We got to side pass. I don't just say no and then not redirect their energy.
Right, because then it's just going to be a constant, you didn't give them anything else to do. So what are they? Of course, they're going to think about that delicious grass again. And there's nowhere to direct that focus. And so they're going to want to eat the grass again. And then you're going to be back in the same conversation and you're going to be frustrated.
I hear all the time is my horse isn't allowed to eat on the trail. To me, what I'm really hearing is I don't know how to be a really good, fair, firm leader. Therefore, my horse isn't allowed to do this. Because once he starts doing it, then he's always going to do it.
Oh, can't make him stop. And then we're going to be in this field forever. Yes.
When I trail ride, I'm trail riding with my horse. So we do a lot of riding and then we stop and eat. I let him eat. I mean, I want my horse to go, sweet, we're getting in the trailer. We're going somewhere. And so, I ride in the high country up in the Sierras, and we do a lot of climbing. We do a lot of strenuous work. And so we soak our feet in the stream. And I got a couple horses that say, well, why stop at the feet?
Right.
Let's get the whole body. And so I have to redirect the energy. I can say no, but then there's other times that we will literally take our gear off, our saddles off, and let them lay down in the stream or the river or the lake, depending on where we're at. So again, it's that riding with my horse. What other kind of energy are we moving?
The awareness comes into this so big, what we talked about, that escalating to the huge spook. The other day we were just riding around the neighborhood because we had the little in the stroller, and there was a turkey that needed to fly over a fence to get out. And MJ started just slowing down, and I saw the turkey and she saw the turkey, and we were like, oh, okay, that turkey is going to be at eye level when it comes out. And so in that situation, I knew she wasn't going to be bothered by the turkey, and we just slowed up so that we weren't pushing the turkey, but our energy was pushing the turkey, and then the turkey was getting more panicky and running faster, and we were creating that energy. So we just slowed it down and let the turkey go. But if it wasn't a turkey, if it was something more menacing, MJ would have been nervous too. And so as soon as I felt that tension under me, I would have done something. Either sometimes I do deep breathing, sometimes we do, a side pass or a pivot or some kind of footwork. Sometimes we focus on something else. Like, it's very intuitive what I pick to do in the moment, but I'm giving her somewhere to put her attention instead of just like, oh my God, it's going to get me. Oh my God, it's going to get me. And it's getting closer. And what are we going to do? And everybody's getting uptight. And that'll, of course, lead to a crash and burn. And so it's also redirecting my energy. I feel her get tight. I need to find a way to stay loose. And if I can't, I get off.
And let's be very clear about this. It takes courage to get off your horse.
Yes.
It takes stupidity to stay on your horse when you can't get their mind and get that energy redirected. So let's be very clear about that. I mean, we have both, well, I've been riding horses a long, long time. And I feel pretty darn confident in the saddle, and I know Laura does too. But there are particular situations that come about, like we were caught in a windstorm on a new horse, and there was no way.
Yeah.
There was no way that I have the philosophy of I am always striving to set my horse up for success. And in that moment, it meant getting out of the saddle and on the ground where he and I could have a really good conversation. I could make this the best that it could be. So that again was redirecting both of our energies. There's times out on the trail, or like when we're doing mounted posse events, or I'm at a different stable, a big boarding facility, there will be times that I'll be working or riding and I see something beginning to happen. Either I see it on the trail or I see it at the barn, like you know, that's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And so I will redirect my horse's attention to face it.
Yes.
And see it and watch it. And if it's something going by us that they're still not super comfortable about, like Laura said, I'll be taking those nice deep breaths. And then I learned this working cattle. It's psychology, horse psychology. When you're trying to get your horse comfortable to something that they're not comfortable with and it's moving, keep their eye on it. If you can actually even tip their head left and right so they see it out of both eyes. And as soon as it passes, you fall in and start tracking it.
Yep.
It changes your horse's psychology. All of a sudden, your horse feels like it is driving it away. And the leader in a herd drives from behind.
Yep.
It's the most, when I learned that moving cattle and started doing that with horses that just lacked confidence, and to be able to get it moving. Oh,
Yep.
huge.
I mean, MJ loves running along behind a bike because I did that with her.
Yeah.
We've done it with motorcycles. We've done it with bikes. We've done it with cars. We've done it with like everything.
Strollers.
And yes, we do it with strollers a lot these days. But it is, when I see those like quote unquote desensitizing videos where they're just flooding the horse with all this stuff and the horse is just standing there and his soul has left his body. It's like, that is not desensitizing.
That's learned helplessness.
And yeah, building the confidence by having them chase the thing and explore it is so good for them because you are giving them, here's what we're going to do something with this energy. We're going to move our body. We're going to dissipate the energy through exploring with our mind. We're not just going to stand there and let it build. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever looked at your horse and wondered if they're thriving in your care? Is there more you can do to give them the best life possible? Most ranches and boarding facilities are set up for convenience, not horse health, but there's tons you can do to fix your horse's situation if you're willing to get creative. Join Evidence-Based Horsekeeping, my Facebook group where members learn how to improve the mental and physical well-being of their horses. The link is in the show notes.
Okay, so that is the physical redirecting of the horse's energy as well as ours.
Yep.
Because we can get so fixated on, oh my God, what if, that then we get our horse starting to go, what's wrong?
Yes.
So we have to redirect our energy that way. But now we're going to go into, this is holistic horsemanship and husbandry. And so now we're going to turn the energy conversation to horses are energy beings. We're all energy beings. Animals are masters at feeling energy.
Yeah.
Humans, we are probably better than a lot of us realize. We just unconsciously are
Yeah.
aware.
I feel
But
like horses live in an energy world. They
mhm,
don't have to awaken to it. It's just their world.
right.
And the way we've set up society and our lives, we have to awaken to it and tap into it. But they're there all the time. It's just an invitation to us, whether or not we want to join them there.
Right. So we're going to talk about energy bubbles. We have an energy bubble. Some will call it an aura. I like to call it a bubble. And that bubble is if we put our hands out straight to the sides, and that's the width of our bubble, and it goes all the way around us. And if we put our hand above our head, it's that high. And for horses, theirs is if you take your horse and you put nose to tail out, that horse length all the way around and up that horse length. So you put your horse's tail on their back up, imaginary. That would be how high that bubble goes. So when we walk into energy bubbles, we feel it. And my example, I'm going to let Laura do the horse example because she plays with this stuff more consciously than I do, but I'm going to do the human bubble. So, have you ever been in a gathering? It can be family and grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles, or it can be a friendly party or a networking event. And there's that person that comes walking up to you, and you can feel yourself like kind of almost shrinking a little bit. And the closer they get, you are leaning, you can feel yourself leaning back more. And then as they're standing right in front of you, you actually literally take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
That's because you're feeling their energy and it's not something you're comfortable with for whatever reason. I was talking with somebody the other day and they kept getting right in my face. And I kept politely stepping back and they kept stepping more into me. Oh, I was getting over COVID. I was getting over COVID and I knew I wasn't contagious, but I still was like, all right, I got this shit because somebody was in my bubble.
Right. Right.
So I was politely just rocking back. And then I just take a step back as I cocked my head. And after about 3 times, it kind of became a game. Okay, well, what happens if I just shift my weight to my hip to the left and then kind of cross my leg, my right leg over my left. And then when I uncross my leg, I'm actually going to step further to the left. And son of a gun, if they didn't do the same thing.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I wanted to just put my arms straight out and go, could you just back up? And then there's the other person who comes walking up to you and you just want to give them a hug. Like you don't even really know them, but you just feel like my farrier the other day. He's just this cool guy. I really like him. We have a lot of great conversation. And when he was done, we were standing in the driveway and you could feel kind of that moment where we're both kind of like drawn to each other to
Uh-huh.
say goodbye. And so finally I'm like, I'm a hugger. I'm giving you a hug. And he's like, oh, I'm a hugger too. And we hugged. But that's all energy exchange.
Yes.
So now I know that you play with MJ's bubble and the entire herd in the pastor's bubble.
I do. Within reason. Like, I don't let anybody act unsafely toward me, but I turn off all the human rules. And it's like, I'm coming in to your world. I want you to show me. And we just had one of our lovely gosh, I think she's 4 now. She's an Andalusian. She's just lovely. She was out for the summer getting started under saddle and having some like real big fun pasture time. She had the opportunity to breed with a stallion if she wanted to. She chose not to, so that's fine. She was terrified of him. But she met me at the gate the first day she was back, and she pressed her nose into my hand. And okay, these guys know that they can come up to me and ask me for help when they need it. And so I stood back and I looked at her. Okay, Talia, you've been being ridden. I have that information. I know that. You've never been ridden before. You need my help. What does that look like? And so I put out my hand and I just said, show me where. She pushed her lip into my hand. Okay, we need our TMJ released. No problem. So I put my hand up under her lip, my other hand up behind her ears. She gets to set the pressure. I'm just there for her to show me what she wants. She pushed really, really hard into my hand, took a huge release. 3 of the other horses in the pasture also released with her. She walked off. Thanks. That's all I needed. I'm home. Good to see you. Bye. And that was her asking. She had energy stuck in her body that needed to be redirected, and she needed my help and knew I would. That TMJ release, almost every horse that gets started under saddle at some point will ask me for that. Because I think they're carrying the bit and the bridle, and there's always some messy moments and the getting started. And so that's just something to be aware of if you have a young horse, to give them that opportunity. But so what I do is I play. Okay, I notice those 3 other horses also released on their TMJ, so I'm gonna just see who's calling me in, who's looking at me, who's coming toward me, it's not always coming toward me, because sometimes they're pointing a body part at me or pointing sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's physical, but who also needs some help? I go to that one next. Where do you want me to put my hands? Who else comes around and starts wanting to play? Or sometimes it's who's standing in the corner pretending like they are not a part of this at all, throwing massive releases off by themselves. Okay, so then I'm going to just throw some energy your way without putting my hands on you, because that's what you need right now. But your horses are constantly communicating and sharing energy. And when you go in there and throw out the human rules and start just saying, how can I participate? What do you want to show me? How can I be a part of this? The way that they excite to see you, the way that they communicate with you, the way that they allow you to help them is so powerful. It's so fun. And right now I'm doing it in 5-minute at the max sections, because I have a baby in a stroller waiting for me to come back. But I'm still taking that 3 to 5 minutes and doing it, because I am helping them dissipate energy. And they're helping me dissipate energy. Sometimes I start having I've had times when I've broke down and cried, and they've all looked at me like, you needed that. Like, oh, thanks, guys. Taking care of me. And it is one of the most beautiful parts of horses.
When you're willing to become a part of their herd. I know we've mentioned this in other podcasts, where when you step into your horse's enclosure, and that's where they live, that's their home. Yeah. You have become a part of their herd. They are not a part of your family. And so what Laura is doing, I love the way she said, I let go of all my humanness and I go in there like, show me. That is being open to that's open receptivity, and they feel that. Yeah. They feel that. And because she's saying, show me, horses, we have all those horses that have learned it's really nice to have your butt scratched. Mm-hmm. And so they're being rude, putting their butt in your, pushing their butt against you. And there's a time and a place for that. That would be that where we started, redirect that physical energy. Like sometimes it's like, bring it on. I got 5 minutes. I'm going to get my fingernails dirty. Mm-hmm. And then there's other times like, not now. So I didn't say no. I just said not now, so, but yeah, when you do energy work, Laura and I both play with energy. Horses know that, they feel that. and they'll start to present their body parts. Also, and I know Laura's seen this as well, is I will see horses do this to my clients or do it to me. They will start to come and get pushy with their nose or active with their lips on different parts of our bodies. And the average person is going to say, knock it off, you're being disrespectful, don't bite me, don't push me around. But really what they're saying is, you've got stuck energy there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know you have this?
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow them, you recognize it and just take those deep breaths down into your lower belly and get grounded, that I've had horses full on try and massage it out with their lips.
And that's such an important awareness to have with the never, ever, ever all of the bajillion horses I've been around. Has a horse gone from sweetly nuzzling and lipping me to biting me in a dangerous way? Never. Now, MJ can be a little mad when she communicates nicely and I don't pick up on it. She has gone from a very sassy lip to all of a sudden there's teeth coming at me. And you have to know the difference. There's a huge difference between I'm nuzzling on you and loving you with my lips and, hey, I'm getting mad and my energy's escalating.
Right. And you know what to keep in mind is I have, especially with the Mustangs, when they just start saying, okay, I trust people and I like to touch my body parts. And then I want to know, where are their scratchy, where are their favorite spots to be scratched? I have myself overstimulated. Like, oh, they really like this. They really like it and like it and keep 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 it. And finally they spin around to try a nip, or they'll raise a leg if I'm down under their belly scratching. Now that's not gone from sweet loving to all of a sudden mean. That's me missing.
They're like, I'm getting uncomfortable here.
Well, it's overstimulating. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know how many of us have had, if we're women, how many of us have had our sweetheart rubbing on our arm or rubbing on our leg where we're watching a show, and they keep on rubbing and they keep on rubbing, and pretty soon, you just like stop their hand.
Yes.
Stop rubbing me. It's kind of the same thing for the horses. And the other thing is, if you have the opportunity to watch horses together in a pasture, and when they go to grooming one another, it starts with the rubbing, side by side, and then it starts with the lippy play, and then it goes, into kind of I call it flea biting, where they're biting each other and they're just grooming and scratching. I mean, that's how that's mutual bonding.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they'll bite, and maybe one got a little rough and so the other one bit. I don't know the conversation, right? Because I'm not in it, but I'm witnessing it. And they didn't go from sweet to mean. It's just their way of communicating. So one last thing before we go, I want to talk about energy and redirecting. When we're working with a horse in a round pen on the ground, either at liberty or with a lead rope and halter and lead rope on, that's all about energy. That's all about my body language and my energy coming up through my core, through my arm, through my hand, either out to the horse or through the lead rope to the horse. That's me directing my energy and intention, and it connects to them, and then we move together. One of the analogies that I learned with the Mustangs, really, because for so long you can't touch them, but you give them too much energy, they're going over your pin.
Yep.
And that's not a good thing. You don't want them to learn that. But I learned this, and I love it. I do it all the time. I teach it all the time, is the round pen is the pool of water, and I'm standing in it. And the horse is the beach ball. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, get yourself a rubber ducky and get in the bathtub. and move your hand through the water and direct that ducky wherever you want it to go. And then take that out into the round pen, and your horse becomes the beach ball, and the round pen is full of water. How can your energy and deliberate movement send that horse away, send it to the left, get the hindquarters to move away, turn to the right, come into you, back away from you, all through your energy is pushing the water. Ready to unlock true freedom with your horse? Join Unbridled Freedom, our private Facebook group for women on a spiritual journey in horsemanship. We don't fix our horses, we transform ourselves. This is your space to embrace challenges, celebrate victories, and deepen your bond with your horse. If you're ready to lead with wisdom, compassion, and inner peace, join us today. Let's dance with our horses as one. The link is in the show notes below.
Nowhere in a energetic, beautiful, feely conversation with your horse can you drop the containment of your energy. You have to be present and holding it and intentional about it. And the round pen is the perfect place to play with that, because you will see it. When you drop it, everything will fall apart.
Yeah. They'll stop, or they'll look at you, or
yeah. We have a brand new, I think she's maybe 2 weeks old now, foal in a pen that's 6 feet away from our round pen right now. And that is a beautiful opportunity for me to practice my magneticism and my claiming of my energy, because MJ is very interested in that foal, and I have to be more interesting than it is.
The way that I described with what Laura was saying was, and this happens in the saddle and on the ground and doing groundwork. And you'll have a plan and you'll be flowing. I like to consider it like ballroom dancing. You're dancing and you're moving, and your energy's connected, and together you're sliding and gliding through that pool of energy. And then you go, oh God, what is it? What time is it? Or I forgot that mail, or what was that? And your horse, you totally lose your rhythm. So it's a lot like dancing with somebody. The minute one of you lose the present moment,
Yep.
you get out of rhythm. And I call that leaving your horse. So we're kind of full circle back to when you're out riding on the trail and the women are yakking and yakking and yakking, they have left their horse.
Yep.
Long before their horse left them. And I think I even said that at the beginning.
And that's an important, we're not saying you can't go out on the trail and have a nice conversation with your friends. You absolutely can. But the second you feel a shift in your horse, that conversation pauses and you tune into your horse and help them out. And
so see, there's the rub. I don't believe that a lot of people are aware of the three awarenesses. Self-awareness, horse awareness, environment awareness. And I think that's where the disconnect happens when the incident happens.
He spooked and the out horse of nowhere.
We were just going on, and all of a sudden he started bucking. Well, not really.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that, because it brings it back to, I will be riding down the trail actually giving a lesson to my client, but there is I am still aware of myself on my horse, and I'm aware of my horse underneath me, and I'm aware of the environment around me. And I will even literally say to Rocky or Harry, all right, you got this for a minute. While I turn and direct, or I, really focus on what I'm telling that client to do with their horse. And my horses have been taught to know that because of the partnership, right?
Right.
Because we ride together And there's times that I want them to take the lead. I want to know, can they stay on the trail? Can they navigate better through this? So yeah, it's that we need to have that awareness, unless you really just want a pony ride.
And if you want a pony ride, you need to lease and not own. And the person who you are leasing's from responsibility is to train that horse so that they can provide the pony ride. But you will never be able to keep that up, owning your own horse, because the horse will check out from you when you check out from it.
Yeah, and the horse will become the leader, and then that's probably 4 or 5 other podcasts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that we've covered energy in a lot of ways.
But let's just recap our strategies. We're aware of when it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
If we need to get off our horse to allow them to move their feet in a way that we can't or don't want to ride through, we will.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. I'm never like, oh, you're not allowed to bolt right now. Like, once they're bolting, they can't control that. So I get off. Right. And if you need to bolt in a circle around me, you go do that 10 times.
But the key to that is you never leave your horse. You're still directing.
Oh, I'm here. I am.
You're still directing that energy. It's just easier to redirect the energy from the ground at times.
And then we're practicing our awareness in all the different ways of, can I get my hands on you? Can I work on my own energy? Can I draw you in? Can I push you away? Can I surround you in my beautiful, calm energy and wait on you to find that and have that patience for me and for you?
And then the feeling the energy in your horse, like Laura was saying, we all feel energy in our hands. So practice, and this is a great bonding opportunity. Practice just putting your hands on and rubbing your hands with curiosity over, and let your horse tell you
where to let those hands stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing that, sometimes I hold my hands in one spot on a horse for multiple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be in a hurry. And your job there is to keep your human mind quiet. And just be on horse time during that.
So play a game. I cannot see, I cannot hear. All I can do is feel through my hands and let that magic happen.
You will be amazed at how that exercise transfers to your awareness and gives you so much more confidence in the saddle.
And then what was the other? Be mindful of your energy bubbles. So don't just focus this on when you're with your horse. This is kind of that self-awareness and that knowing your bubble. And start paying attention when you're with others.
Mm-hmm.
When do you feel you need to cross your arms over your what we call our solar plexus, that V in our rib cage? When do you notice that you feel like you want to go give somebody a hug? Not that you have to, we're not saying that. Or when do you notice that you like rock back or you even take the step back because they're too close, because we have permission to do that. Absolutely. We have permission to say, don't get in my space.
Yep. Well, okay, one more piece of awareness for you guys to practice is, how is your horse and other people responding to your presence of your energy? Are people rocking back or coming forward? Is your horse walking back or coming forward?
That's perfect. And, we would always love to have you hop onto our Facebook page, Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry, and carry this conversation on with us.
Yes.
Share what you're finding, or if you find that in any of our podcasts that we touch on something you were confused about, or you didn't agree with, or you want to know more about, pop on over to Facebook. Yeah. And jump on our page. We love to talk about this stuff. So if you have any questions about the topics covered in this episode, Send us a message on our Facebook page, Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry, and we will answer your question in a post on our page. You will be anonymous. We'll just take the question and provide our input, and we want to do it on the post so that we can all learn and grow together, because nobody knows everything. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. We want to remind you that we'll be here every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, following the golden rule. Have a plan, but always be willing to be flexible. Don't forget to connect with us using the links in the show notes below.
If you learned something new today, had an aha, or walked away with a valuable nugget, you can say thanks by leaving us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on.